Am I the a-hole for giving my girlfriend's phone to my sister and scolding her? It was my girlfriend's 23rd birthday, and I, 25 male, got her an iPhone 12 Pro, as she has been wanting one for a while. So I saved up, and it was very expensive. When I surprised her with it, I was expecting her to be excited, but instead, she told me that she wanted a black one, not a white one. The thing is, she never told me she wanted a black. She just always said she wanted the phone itself. When I told her I didn't know, she told me that I ruined her birthday and just left. I was honestly in shock and disbelief that she was that upset about a phone color. I didn't know what to do with the phone and planned on taking it back, but I remember my sister, 19, just had a baby and unfortunately had to drop out of college to find a job. I decided that I was going to give the phone to her since the phone she had was not working anymore. I told her that I would give the phone to her, but I still had to check if my girlfriend changed her mind. So I texted her saying, "This is your last chance to change your mind about the phone because I plan on giving it to my sister." And she just texted me back, "I don't care." I asked her one last time, and again she said, "I told you I don't care." So that was that. A few hours later, I was in bed when my girlfriend came in and asked me where was her phone, and I told her, "I thought you didn't want it." "I'm sorry, but it's too late now. I already gave it to my sister." She got angry and started shouting at me, saying that she thought I was joking and that it was her phone, so I had no right to give it away, and started stomping her feet saying she wanted her phone back right now. I lost my cool and told her, "You're an adult behaving like a child who didn't get their way. I asked you twice if you wanted the phone, and you said no. Now please stop behaving like a toddler." She stomped her way out of the room and texted me that I was a jerk. And now all of her friends are ganging up on me. So now I'm wondering if I'm the a-hole. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Dealing with this person will always be a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. No matter how you try to please her, she will never be happy. She will constantly move the goalpost and find ways to tell you why you were not good enough for her. This is a relationship red flag. It's good that you didn't give the phone to an ungrateful person. Yeah, I hope he sounds very kind from this and definitely deserves to be treated better. Yes, I mean, I would never dream to get such an expensive gift from like anyone. Definitely not a boyfriend and not a brother either. I hope he is very generous. Girlfriend's reaction is so ridiculous, it's hilarious. Opie, welcome to the preview of your future with her. Not the a-hole. Huge red flag. Dump her, unless you want to deal with this childish behavior for the rest of your life. Not the a-hole. And please consider breaking up. Your girlfriend is completely dismissive of all the effort that must have gone into buying the phone because of something she never even specified. She then proceeds as if she was the one being wronged and turns the blame onto you, but somehow still stakes claim on the phone after basically tossing it aside. I honestly think it's great karma that the phone found someone actually deserving. Opie, this is a metric load of red flags. Consider ending your relationship with her. She's toxic. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Friend, not to be mean, but I'd reconsider that relationship. You seem like a caring dude. I know the iPhone must have been super expensive. And getting upset by the color, which by the way she could change worst case scenario, is just wrong. She doesn't appreciate you. Find someone who will. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to celebrate my birthday with my dad if it's gonna exclude my brother? I'm gonna be turning 17 soon, and my dad wants us to go to Knott's, and I love going there. We used to as a family before crap hit the fan. This happened around September of 2019, that my mom was found out to be cheating, and it ruined everything. Still mad at her about it, and we don't talk a lot. My dad left for a while, and then he wanted paternity tests for me and my brother, who was 12 back then. I'm the only one who's my dad's son. My brother isn't. That caused some deeper crap. My dad cussed out my mom, told her he never wanted to see my brother again. Literally, when they were going through the divorce, the only one he tried to fight for custody over was me. This really messed up my brother, and it was hard ever since. I'm mad at my dad too, but I hoped once time passed he'd stop being like this with him. But nothing changes. Then he gets mad when I try to talk to him about it. My brother gets sad when I have to go to my dad's, and I've started not going, which just causes problems for everyone. So I told my dad I'm not going since my brother can't, because this is a place my brother loves going to. It's where we all went together. Like, I don't expect him to actually bring my brother because that would just be not the best thing if he's gonna be a prick with him or something. But I just said I don't want to do anything with my dad since he's still being like this with my brother. Especially going to a place I know my brother loves to. My dad's been pissed off about it. He's telling me to stop punishing him for only wanting a relationship with this actual kid, but he's begging me not to push him away too. He just wants us to have this one day since I won't even come with him to his place anymore. But I told him I can't. It doesn't feel right to me spending time with a guy who also hurt my brother just like my mom did, even if she was way worse. I just can't. But my dad is seeing it now as I'm turning my back on him. And like if I'm being a turd that I'd rather not do anything with him on my birthday. This has been hard on him, but also on us. And I hate my mom for doing it. But is it making me an a-hole that I basically am choosing my brother instead of him? Oof. This is a lot, but you are not an a-hole. Your dad is going through so much. More than you or I can comprehend. What's he going through with your mom cheating? Finding out his son isn't biologically his? It's really messed up. When it comes down to it, he raised your brother as his own. There is a father-son bond there that cannot be undone. That time can't be taken back. But he is doing severe damage to your brother by abandoning him and refusing to be a part of his life because of what his mother did. I'm not saying it's easy to stay, but he is causing a ton of trauma on this child. As much as it sucks to pick sides, I think it is very important for your brother that you stick by him through thick and thin. With everything going on, he'll likely feel like you're all he has left, and he needs that. Like really freaking needs that. It is going to be hard and ugly at times. It's going to suck for everyone involved, but you have to stand by him. He needs you. He is about to build up some major abandonment and self-worth issues. And if anyone can make sure he feels loved and worthy, it's you. Absolutely not an a-hole. You're a fantastic brother. But people who disapprove of you supporting your brother are going to make it about your father's feelings, / how your mother wronged him, / how you owe him. But at the end of the day, adults are supposed to take care of children, and your brother got half abandoned, whether it's reasonable for your father to do so or not. So your brother's needs are far greater, especially with how young he was when this exploded, and still is now. None of the theoretical a man has a right to leave in this case actually applies to how the kids in this situation cope, which a lot of people conveniently ignore and rage against the spouse that cheated. You're doing the right thing for you and your brother, and that's what matters. Not an a-hole. I'm the only one who's my dad's son. That is just not true. He raised your brother for 12 years. That's his son too. I'm not saying your dad isn't hurting / grieving, but he absolutely cannot expect you to participate in the abandonment he's inflicting on your brother. It's cruel, and you don't have to pretend that it isn't. You aren't choosing. You're refusing to hurt someone who desperately needs love and support right now. That's the way it should be. Yes, thank you. The father has every reason and right to be angry with the mother, but to take it out on a 12-year-old, a child that you raised from birth, is unconscionable. I cannot imagine just abandoning a child who has been mine in its entire life because I found out that we don't share DNA. And I certainly cannot imagine being that child and trying to deal with the only father I've ever known suddenly cutting all contact with me over a situation that I'm completely innocent in. Not an a-hole. Not an a-hole. So let me get this straight. Your dad was able to raise a child as his own for 12 years, and then the instant he finds out that he's not technically the father, he has no problem just emotionally and psychologically destroying the kid, who did nothing wrong? I get that is hurt by your mom's cheating, but turning on your brother like that is just cruel and heartless. Not an a-hole. You are the only one thinking clearly in this situation. The father didn't do anything wrong either. Go read one of those "Am I the a-hole for wanting to have a relationship with my biological father, even though it's crushing the heart of the guy who raised me" posts by kids in this kind of situation to show what's going to happen in 5 years. My hat's off to any parent who can get through this kind of situation without it affecting their love for their child. However, I think that's above and beyond what I expect. If someone's looking to the future and realizing that it will destroy them when their kid starts going on an emotional journey to bond with his biological father/family or figure out what that genetic heritage means, I can't blame them for not going down that path. Contrary to general belief, men are allowed to have feelings and protect their mental and emotional health. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not getting my stepdaughter another gift for her birthday? My stepdaughter's birthday was 2 weeks ago, and I'm still getting messages about how wrong I handled this situation. My stepdaughter is pretty spoiled. This is because her mother lets her get away with everything. Her mom is a complete Karen and is trying to make her like her as well. My stepdaughter asked her a new tablet, so I have been saving up to get her one. I bought it about a month her birthday was going to take place, and my husband told her about this. I confronted him, and he said in his defense he has been bugging him about a tablet. He didn't tell her where it was. He didn't have to though, because she found it herself, made fun of its size, and then proceeded to destroy the whole thing. I asked why she would do that, and she said her mom told her to do it, but that's blatantly a lie. I refused to get her another birthday gift. My husband on the day of her birthday asked where my gift was, and I told him. I said I wasn't going to get another one. He said that was selfish. I said it was also selfish to destroy something that effort was put into. Now everyone in my stepdaughter's family is saying I'm a major a-hole. Was I really being an a-hole in this situation? Now for the top comments. Hell no. Your stepdaughter has some major freaking problems. I don't know how you even deal with this, to be honest. If she doesn't show any improvements in her attitude in selfish ways, I would probably never get her a birthday gift. Sorry for being so harsh, but I just feel for you. When asked where her gift is, say she got a gift and destroyed it, there's where the gift is. Oh well, but do not buy this person another gift ever. Let dad do the buying. And frankly, I'd question whether you want to be with someone who lets his kid act like this, because it won't change. She will be 30 and expecting yet another car after she wrecked the last 3. Put all the tablet pieces in a box and wrap it really nicely. When she opens it, get a big grin and go, surprise! Not the a-hole. Your husband is assisting in creating a monster, and it's unfortunate that there's not at least one adult related to her teaching her gracious appropriate behavior. Yeah, this. It's not just her mom who is the issue here. This reaction is ridiculous and may have been learned from mom. But dad is completely condoning this behavior by insisting you buy her another gift and calling you selfish for not getting her something else. Wait, let me get this straight. You bought your stepdaughter a gift she had been asking for. She found it beforehand, regardless of if she was told or not, and purposefully broke it? Then demanded you get her another one since it was now broken. What? So not the a-hole. She didn't like the size, so she broke it, and make it look like an accident so I could buy her a bigger one. What the? Your husband's family can pool their money for future gifts as far as I'm concerned. She should no longer expect anything from you for this blatant act of disrespect. The fact that your husband is enabling this type of bratty behavior is equally as appalling. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to give my laptop to my uncle? So I, female 22, recently got myself one of the new Apple desktop computers, and it came in today. I paid for it on my own as a graduation gift to myself, and I was having issues with my laptop. Also Apple, about 4 years old with heavy use. It still works, it just doesn't work if it's not plugged in, and it's a lot slower than it used to be. And the cost to fix it was high enough I thought I'd be wiser to just buy a new one altogether. Here's the issue. When my new computer was dropped off, my grandmother, who I live with, saw and realized what I bought myself. I told her I was buying it, but I don't think she realized what exactly I was buying. She went on and on about how my uncle, male 28, was going to throw a fit and it's unfair I got it for myself. That he used to have one, that she bought him, and the only reason he doesn't anymore is because one day he got really angry and, intentionally, broke his to the point it was irreparable. She then insists I should give my laptop to my uncle because it's only fair if I do so. I told her no, that's ridiculous, and that I plan to keep it. Because while it has some issues, it's still portable, and that aspect is useful, but not something I want to deal with all the time. I then pointed out that she didn't buy my laptop, got it from my school, or my desktop, so she has no right to have a say what I do with either. She then went on about how entitled I am and how I don't care for my uncle. Not today, Hall. Ironically, your grandmother is the entitled one. She has no right to make you give your possessions away to another person. What do you mean you have to give me all your rewards right now? You're such an entitled a-hole dude. Being serious, I don't know how spending your own money on something for yourself is selfish. That's how life works. Grandma's high. Not today, Hall. I think the entitled one is your uncle if he expects to smash up a perfectly good laptop and just be handed another. Exactly. Not today, Hall. It's your property, and he would probably break your laptop due to anger as well. She can buy him another one if she wants him to have a laptop. Not today, Hall, at all, since you bought it. But question, is your uncle disabled in some way or something else? My uncle does have a mental disorder, not going to say what for his privacy, but is now on meds that work for him. It took a couple years to find the right ones, and he's been working on his own for a while now. For context, he did break it when he wasn't on the proper meds and wasn't doing well mentally. But regardless, it would have been 11 years old at this point and probably wouldn't be running well regardless. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend she needs to get a job while her sister is dying? My 27 male girlfriend, Sarah, 27 female, sister, 40 female, who she is real close to, is dying. They found cancer and it is terminal and aggressive, so she has 4 years max, but more likely 1 or 2 years. The news is extremely shocking and upsetting for me, but it's way worse for my girlfriend, obviously. She has not been working because she is doing a course and is only missing a few assignments. She sat me down and said that she was going to drop out and spend time with her sister. I told her I thought spending time with her sister was a great idea, but she needed to finish the course in the meanwhile, and then I could support both of us for a few more months instead of her getting a job right away and make decent money, and she could spend that time with her sister. Sarah got extremely upset and said that I was a materialistic person who just didn't care or understood how upset she is, and that she will not finish her course or get a job to any stage before her sister passes away. I said it'd help her out, and that she didn't need to hand in perfect assignments, just the bare minimum to pass the course. I said she could even move in with her sister short term. Sister lives alone and is divorced, if she wants, and come home at the weekend. Sarah's plan of not working for the foreseeable future is dependent on me working a super stressful job with long hours, and supporting her mentally and monetarily until her sister's death, and potentially beyond. I've already been doing this over a year at this stage, and I was aiming to move to a non-managerial and less paid but less stressful job mid-year because the stress is physically harming me. Cannot sleep, hair falling out in chunks which is apparently unrelated to age/panic attacks. But I cannot do that if I'm the only one working. I was also trying to save my Christmas bonus, but she keeps showing me clothes she wants and saying, "My life is so upsetting. Why can't I have these pretty clothes?" So I will buy them for her. I am trying to be understanding because I know she must be devastated. But I also need to have an idea of when she will get a job again. Last night, I sat her down and told her she needs to get a job, even just part-time, by the end of the summer. Course is finished in a few weeks, because I need to move to a less stressful job. She said my work stress cannot compare to the stress of a loved one dying, and that I'm just being dramatic. She also told me she's planning a really expensive trip for whenever travel goes back to normal to blow off steam, but she has no savings, so I am expected to pay for the whole trip. I told a few people and they said I was being dramatic, and a few more years of the high-stress job will not kill me. But other friends said that my girlfriend's demands are ridiculous and that she was not planning to work even before this. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend she needs to get a job by the end of the summer while her sister is dying? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your partner's grief, however profound, does not justify her incredible entitlement. It's sickening that she'd use her sister's condition as ammunition to manipulate you. I'm disgusted by your partner's behavior. You should be too. I couldn't explain it better due to word count, but it's actually a lovely idea, although super expensive. After her sister's death, she's planning to go on a trip her sister has always dreamed of going on and bring some of the ashes with her. The issue is that the trip she wants to go on is around northern European countries, Norway, Iceland, etc., for 6 weeks, and she said that even though her sister's idea was of going to hostels, etc., she cannot deal with that and she wants to go to good hotels. I explained I cannot get 6 weeks off work, and even if I could, that would blow all my savings because those countries are expensive. And she basically said I was just shutting down her way for remembering her sister. Good lord, your girlfriend is truly awful. Please end this relationship. You need to take care of yourself, especially since your girlfriend apparently doesn't care about your well-being in the slightest. If she is really going to make her sister the center of her life, she can move in with her and help care for her. And let you take a less stressful job and stop losing your hair from stress. Ditch the selfish girl. She has shown you who she is. Not a-hole. You were not responsible for funding your girlfriend's housing, food, transportation, or vacation costs. And the fact that she's trying to guilt you into ignoring your own stress and overwork is unconscionable. Why not suggest to your girlfriend that she move in with her sister? It seems that's the only relationship that she's willing to put time and effort into. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for getting real with my stepsister, in turn causing her to cut off part of my family till I apologize? So I, female 29, have a stepsister, female 30, from my dad's marriage. I'll call her Kate. A bit of context on Kate. We met 16 years ago when our parents started dating. Kate is and always has been a judgmental, entitled bully. For example, when our parents got married, she had to have a white puffy dress. She had to have the biggest room and the best things growing up. And if, God forbid, any of us got anything from our mom or grandparents, she'd have to get better or our stuff would disappear. If she doesn't like something, she'll say it triggers her, throws a toddler-style tantrum on social media till she gets her way. But what really makes her bad is the constant shaming she does. Off the top of my head, I can think of the times she's shamed me from being too thin, my brother for wanting to be a policeman, us for being religious, even her own sister for having a planned C-section. When called on it, she does the same thing, says she's just telling it how it is, then blaming everyone for picking on her. Her mom usually makes a scene about family, and Kate is just amazingly honest, which apparently is something that needs to be valued. This all came to a head today. I went to the hospital yesterday, March 31, and shockingly found out I was 3 months pregnant with twins. I'm not going into details about my medical history, but me getting pregnant is nothing short of a miracle. I honestly never thought that with my issues I'd ever be able to carry a child. Me and my fiancé cried happy tears for hours, then excitedly posted it on Facebook. The fact that it was after midnight and April Fools didn't even cross our mind. After a few calls from family, we both turned off our phones and went to bed. I woke up this morning to what I thought would be congratulations, but Kate first blocked me, then sent her followers to all my social media to give me crap. Apparently, Kate called me out to her followers for being an inconsiderate witch for making pregnancy jokes, when I should know about fertility issues, naming my private issues, and dragged me with a lot of more stupid crap. This is where I might be the a-hole. Instead of calling Kate and talking to her, I blew up. I posted my scanned pictures saying, "Well, Kate, as always, you have to make everything about you. I'm actually pregnant. Instead of blocking me, you should have maybe messaged me. But as ever with your vile, sorry, real self, you took to the internet to throw a tantrum. You're a 30-year-old woman, Kate, who lives with her mother and has an allowance from mommy. Not to mention you can't keep a relationship/friendship because dear old real Kate can't stay faithful or out of drama for too long. Hope you won't get too offended, Kate, as I'm just being real." Long story short, Kate got a lot of backlash and deleted her social media. She's cut off me, my dad, brother, and her sister till she gets a public apology from us all. They call her on it too. Her mom is demanding I apologize to make peace, and Kate has been punished enough. So, am I the a-hole? Not a-hole. The trash took itself out. Close the door and change the locks. Yep, stupid games and stupid prizes. Kate can pound sand and slash or kick rocks. Opie's reply was perfect in every way. Sadly, the only thing that works against bullies is very firm boundaries and very harsh consequences for breaking them. Or being a bigger, scarier bully. Kate is still trying to get her way, so she still hasn't learned. Hopefully everybody keeps standing firmly. Sounds like y'all finally got some peace. Why mess with that? Not the a-hole. Don't apologize. Not the a-hole. Your stepmom needs to remember who she is talking to when she wants to make demands. You're not the one living in her house and mooching off her money. She doesn't get to boss you around just because she's sleeping with your dad. If stepmom wants to demand an apology, she should start with a 30-year-old child starting fights who she actually has some power over, not a 29-year-old adult who has her life together. Not the a-hole at all. Kate sounds like a whole lot of negativity you don't need in your life, especially because you're carrying twins, which by nature is high risk. You don't need that stress in your life at all. And Kate needs to grow the heck up. Congratulations on your babies-to-be. Thank you. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister to leave because of her fear? My 22 female, sister 17 female, is afraid of snakes. She hates them, can't be near them. My boyfriend, 21 male, is the opposite. He loves them and we actually have one, 2 female. Because of this, we normally go see her, or if she comes to our place, my boyfriend's sister will take our girl for the day. So, we have a pool, and it's been really hot where we live, so we invited my sister and my parents around. Like normal, my boyfriend's sister came and took our snake. When they arrived, everything was fine until we got into the pool. My boyfriend has a tattoo of a snake. It's a blacked out silhouette that wraps around both of his arms and his back. When my sister saw it, she freaked out and told me to tell him to cover it. She knew about his tattoo. She just expected him to cover it, which she can't do without putting on a long-sleeve t-shirt. I told her no. She then went over to him and asked him to leave because he knows about her fear. This annoyed me, and I told her that if she has an issue with it, she should leave. This is his house, not hers. She got upset and just sat inside the whole time. When they left, my mom told me that I was rude to my sister and we knew about her fear and that we ruined her day. Now I'm starting to think that I could have handled the situation better. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. I've been talking to someone in DMs and they said I should add some stuff we talked about to my post. My boyfriend's tattoo is very important to him. We got our current baby after his old snake dies. The tattoo is based on a picture of his old snake draped over his back and arms. Also, self-expression is very important to my boyfriend. He grew up in a very restrictive household. His mother controlled what he did, how he acted, and what he wore. We didn't just move our snake because her enclosure is built into a large bookcase in our living room. Also, this only happens once every month or so. We normally visit her. Also, my boyfriend's sister is a huge reptile nerd and loves our little girl almost as much as we do. My boyfriend actually has an irrational animal fear of his own. Butterflies. He knows that not all phobias work the same, but he thinks that her asking him to leave is ridiculous. Also, when I say that it's his house, I mean it's his house, not ours. Also, to the few people asking how a 21-year-old can afford a house with a pool, my boyfriend has been in the entertainment industry since he was a kid. Think child actor/model. He hated it and no longer does it. If your sister is so afraid of snakes that even a tattoo of one is going to make her freak out, then she has a problem. She needs to leave your lovely pool and go home and think about getting some therapy. Not at a-hole. First of all, not at a-hole and then this. I do think therapy is the best response here. If your sister has a fear so severe that it doesn't allow her to see a drawing of it, she should really see a specialist. A hyper-realistic tattoo of a tarantula would scare the hell out of me. I don't think that's too out of the ordinary for people with phobias, but freaking out over a blacked-out silhouette is extreme. She definitely needs to talk to somebody. Edited to add, I've gotten a lot of comments in this vein, so I feel like I should say, she's still out of line for asking him to cover it. She, sister not Opie, is the a-hole. She should absolutely have either handled her crap herself or just left. I'm just pointing out that I don't think it's insane to be afraid of an image, although her reaction to a non-realistic image is pretty wild. Not the a-hole. If she really is afraid of a tattoo of a snake, she needs serious therapy. Imagery of snakes are everywhere, and that's a very intense phobia if true. To be honest though, this just seems like BS. Fears are hard to face and confront, but it seems weird to me that she has no problem making you all jump through hoops for her. Having a fear or phobia is very understandable, but the whole world can't realistically change for you. Not an a-hole. First, there's no way I could have known her fear of snakes would extend to a tattoo. I would not have thought that a tattoo would evoke the same level of fear as an actual snake. 2, you were doing a nice thing by inviting your sister to use the pool. You did not have to do this. You already went above and beyond by removing your snake from your home. 3, if a guest doesn't like something about the place/people they're visiting, they leave. They do not expect, especially in the middle of the current world situation, people to leave their own homes so the guest can be comfortable. Now, for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents off for babying my grown sister? For context, I'm 21 female and my sister is 30. We both have a job. She works at a grocery store and I work in a telephone company. My sister is always demanding things from my parents and me, and we must always cater to her demands. I work from home due to COVID, and my sister will get back home from her own job. And she'll shame me for not having a real job, and that I'm being lazy and pressures me to stop working so I can cook her some food. My parents also believe that, and make jokes about me not having a real job. A few months ago, I had to rush into the hospital because I had horrible migraines from having headphones on all the time, and I had to get sick leave for a few days. And my sister said I was faking it, and my parents were laughing. She'll never go outside to do her own shopping. She always demands I go out and buy stuff for her. She expects me to make her online orders and pause whatever I'm doing at any moment just to do what she wants. I've set a boundary that I can no longer do this, and she's 30 years old. She should know how to do some stuff on her own, like going to the store, putting food in her plate, or making her online orders. My sister then cried to my mother that I was mean, and my parents got mad at me and called me horrible for not helping out my sister, and that I'm ashamed to them because I don't value my family. So please, Reddit, tell me, am I the a-hole for having enough of this behavior? I'm expected to do everything for everyone in the house, especially my sister, yet the same energy is nowhere to be found when it comes to me. Your sister is 30 and works at a grocery store and still lives with her parents. You have much more of a promising job at a much younger age, and clearly know how to take care of yourself a lot more. This isn't just babying. Your parents are ruining any chance your sister has of being self-sufficient. 100 times not the a-hole OP. You need to get out of that house and out of that situation ASAP before whatever dependent BS your sister is going on starts to seriously affect your well-being. And in the usual round of advice, make sure your family doesn't have access to your bank and credit accounts. That may mean moving to a different bank and changing passwords and everything. I mean, there is nothing inherently wrong with working in a grocery store. They are essentially workers, and we need to respect all jobs. Classism is not a good look. The real issue is the sister being entitled and treating others like crap that makes her the a-hole, not her job. Not the a-hole. You're right for calling her and your parents out on this. It's tricky if you live with them, and I'd suggest the moment you can, you should move out. And I'm sure you do that too. But unfortunately, until they can see it from their side or until they're willing to listen, you won't be able to do much about this. I don't know why you're putting this on here. To vent? You know you're not the a-hole. People in toxic families often doubt themselves, especially when everyone else is telling them they are the bad guy. The first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend I'm not going to financially support her if she quits her job to pursue an Etsy business? I've, 27 male, been dating my girlfriend, 25 female, for almost a year now. I'm a remote software engineer at Amazon, and she works at an Amazon warehouse. Before we started officially dating, we discussed our finances and decided that we would keep our finances separate and split everything 50-50. I told her before we started dating that keeping finances separate and equal was important to me, and she agreed to it. However, she's lately been mentioning how she wants to quit her job because it's making her miserable and start focusing on her art more. I told her that was a bad idea, and that she should at the very least have a different job lined up before she quits her current one, and that she could start her Etsy business as a side hustle on weekends and weekday evenings, and then pursue it full-time if it's profitable. She's been passive-aggressive about it to me lately. She thinks because I make enough money to comfortably support us both, she should be able to pursue what makes her happy. I think my suggestions to her problem were reasonable. I don't think she needs to risk her income and dive headfirst into this art thing till it proves to be somewhat profitable. She doesn't even want to apply to any other jobs because she only wants ones where she can do something artsy. Am I the a-hole for saying I'm not going to financially support her if she decides to go forward with such a risky move? Edit. You really don't need to tell me your opinions about whether you think our 50-50 split is fair or not. We're both adults, and she agreed to it. I'm not making her do anything. I don't love my job either, but being financially responsible is important to me. I understand some people think splitting equitably is more fair, and I disagree with that. But that's okay. People can have different opinions and do what works best for themselves. But that's not what I'm really asking about in this post. Now for the top comments before reading the little update. Not a-hole. Your suggestion to her is perfect. She's extremely immature and entitled. She can of course pursue what makes her happy, but at the end of the day, there are real bills to be paid, and if she can't do that while doing things that makes her happy, she needs to be an adult and keep a job that pays the bill. Absolutely keep your finance separately and don't give in to her request. Also, you have only been dating for almost a year. Imagine her entitlement if you are actually married. Good God. And if you Google advice about making a side hustle your main income, every site will tell you exactly what Opie told his girlfriend. Start slow, build up your available stock and customer base, and only when it actually takes off should you quit your full-time job. She's setting herself up to fail by going all in without anything set up at all. If I was her boyfriend, of only 1 year, I wouldn't want to completely support another capable, able-bodied adult either. Agreed. And she is making the suggestion because she is hoping to use Opie as her safety net. Not the a-hole. She's a new girlfriend, not a wife/sugar baby. You agreed to terms before you started dating, and now she figures she's riding the gravy train. I'd say this is a red flag, and to be careful about how she responds next. Not the a-hole. This is a girlfriend of only 1 year, not a wife or even a fiancé. There is zero obligation to financially support her, especially when she seems to have no idea how to run her own business and hasn't even tried her hand at it yet. She seems to want to be a sugar baby and is already getting passive-aggressively upset at Opie's refusal to fund her artsy lifestyle plans. Don't do it, Opie. It will just make the breakup extra ugly and guilt-ridden. Update. I'm breaking up with her. Apparently, I'm controlling and bad boyfriend for expecting a grown adult woman to pull her weight in a relationship. My exes were engineers too, and 50-50 worked great for us, and we have the same morals and drive. My current girlfriend is different from what I'm used to, but her creative, spontaneous, carefree side is not cute to me anymore. She's just irresponsible, and I'm tired of being the mature one. I'm done with this. I don't feel like she's an equal partner to me. I'm all for being entrepreneurial. A lot of my colleagues have ventured out on their own and become successful. My girlfriend has no plans and just wants to wing it and let her passion run free. I'm done with her. She is better off without me. Thanks, Reddit. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for how I reacted when my fiancé dropped our son off at my workplace? I'm male 27 and a nurse. My fiancé and I have a 1-year-old baby boy. Fiancé doesn't work. She decided to leave her previous job and stay at home. We've agreed that since I'm the one working, she's the one handling home chores. Our son's care is shared, meaning there are times when I handle his feeding/bathing/cleaning/etc. However, I made it clear that when it's time for work, she should be taking responsibility. So far, everything has been going according to what we agreed upon. But recently, she's been complaining about my shift hours changing, which is something I can't control obviously, because currently the unit lacks nurses, and it's impossible for me to do day-to-day planning because sometimes I'd work 12 hours, sometimes 15. So it's quite unpredictable. But I do my best to spend time at home and give my fiancée time for herself. Her cousin's wedding was 2 days ago. That morning, my fiancé wanted me to skip work and stay home with our son so she'd go to the salon with her sisters. I told her I can't just skip work for the day. I already had a long day shift that started at 7:45 a.m. till 6 p.m. I told her she could either call my mom or just wait for me to come home. She threw a fit and saying her cousin's wedding was important and I was being unsupportive. I left home after that and started my shift at the hospital. At around 1 p.m. when I was in the middle of work, it usually gets busier in the afternoon, I got a few missed calls from my fiancé. Then she sent a text telling me she was at the hospital's parking lot with our son. I went to meet her there. She wanted me to take our son and watch him till she gets back from the salon at 4. I lost it. I told her I can't watch our son when I'm in the middle of my shift, and she kept saying I should just let him stay with me and that it was okay. I absolutely lashed out at her. I called her unreasonable and selfish. She could have let someone watch him, but she said her family was busy. We got into an argument and she left him with me. I had to drive to Mom's house and let her have him till I finished my shift. I got home, but I was extremely pissed. My fiancé and her mom said I overreacted and that I was supposed to help since he's my son too. Mother-in-law said I was in the wrong for caring more about work than my own son, but I already told my fiancé I was busy. She wanted me to apologize for yelling and causing a scene, but I refused after this. I want to mention that she's normally fine with my work schedule until recently, and whenever there's an event, we'd both make arrangements and I'd stay with our son while she's gone. This time, I told her I was busy and that I won't be allowing her to distract me from work, but she was being stubborn, thinking I'm prioritizing work and being unsupportive. Those might be her mother's words, but my fiancé takes responsibility here. This misunderstanding, as my fiancé calls it, could have ended with a discussion, but her mother is determined to paint me as the bad parent who isn't pulling weight and taking part in responsibility in caring for our son. I'm tired of her and how she keeps judging me while ignoring her daughter's behavior. Mother-in-law said I was in the wrong for caring more about work than my own son. But getting her daughter getting her hair done is more important than your son? Not at a-hole. You're right. My mother-in-law is just trying to put the blame on me no matter how hard I tried to explain to her that her daughter and I already talked about it, and that my work is important to me. I realized that this is my son too, and that he's my responsibility as well. But my fiancé is acting selfish at this point, and her mom refuses to see it. She put your son at risk and didn't care. You should be the one fuming at both of them. What was your son supposed to do at your work? Wearing a mask being 1-year-old? Shaking my head. Piggybacking onto this comment to ask Opie, why are you so focused on what the mother-in-law says? She can do a running jump. Have this discussion with your fiancé in private. Cut out the mother-in-law. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole? Your fiancé and her mother sound like idiots. Mother-in-law said I was in the wrong for caring more about work than my own son. Her daughter cared more about a salon appointment than her own son. Do you really want to marry into this? Fiancé also took their 1-year-old to hang out at the hospital in the middle of a pandemic, exposing him to all sorts of diseases because she wanted to get her hair done. I'd be livid. Not the a-hole, and if I were you, I'd reconsider tying yourself to such a selfish, self-centered woman. Just look at your mother-in-law for what she'll be like in 20 to 30 years. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for yelling at my daughter for speaking ill of the dead? My daughter's 19 female stepmother, 31, died a week ago. She wanted to spend her last days at home, and when we knew the end was near, my daughter and I went into the room where she was laying. My daughter and her stepmom have had a contentious relationship throughout the years. And she had left the house at 18, telling her stepmother how much she hated her because we had asked her to pay for college by herself. However, when her stepmother got sick, there was a brief period where both she and her stepmother seemed pretty open to forgiving each other for whatever they felt that the other had done to offend each other. My wife had also said she hopes my daughter can go to college eventually. My daughter was away working as a waitress in another town, but when the end seemed near, she ended up asking friends to cover her shifts and drove back to our house. Their initial greeting with each other seemed pleasant, but then my wife fell asleep and my daughter went to her room. Then a week ago, doctors said she could go at any time. My daughter and I ended up going to her stepmom's room, and when my daughter went to reach for her stepmother's hand, her stepmother moved her hand away. But then her stepmother said to me, "Where is my daughter? I want to see my daughter." When my daughter tried to say something, my wife shook her head and said, "I don't want you here." My daughter walked out, and I brought my younger daughter, 5, in to see her mother. When I went to see my daughter later, she said she acknowledged that her stepmom was probably in a lot of pain. My wife died the next morning. My entire spirit is broken, and planning her burial the way she would have wanted and being with my 5-year-old has been the only thing that's kept me alive. After the small funeral we had, I let my daughter go over to my late wife's sister's home. The rest of the people from my family gathered to talk, including my older daughter. We were talking about how much my wife had to look forward to and how badly we feel for my daughter. My older daughter suddenly snapped and stood up saying, "Can we just get out what everybody except my dad is feeling?" She was a complete and utterly awful person who has done so much to make each of our lives miserable. Are we going to continue to pretend that she's a saint now that she's gone? I flipped out and told my daughter she could leave my house if she wants to continue speaking ill of the dead, and that I couldn't think of anything lower than speaking about someone who can't defend themselves, so she should settle her anger towards my wife on her own. My daughter ended up packing up her things and saying she was leaving. My relatives all got mad at me and asked if I was making talking about what kind of person my late wife was taboo forever. I told them that I didn't want to hear any of it, especially when we just buried her. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. I can't imagine what you must be feeling having lost your wife. However, one of your wife's final acts was to cast your daughter aside. Your daughter seems to think that you enabled or allowed a lot of mistreatment by your former wife. I don't know how true that is, but from what you did tell us of her actions, it doesn't sound good. You sound like the kind of father that squashed down mistreatment of your own child, or put your head in the sand so as to not deal with it, and enable your wife's poor treatment of your daughter. Which is what you're doing once again. In fact, the reason this has likely happened is because you permitted your wife to treat your daughter poorly over the years, which built up a lot of resentment. I understand you're grieving the loss of a wife. Again, I can't even fathom that. But you're going to lose a daughter soon too. It's time to start cutting your losses. Unless you deal with this, her way of settling her anger on her own will highly likely be by either cutting you out of her life or having a very frosty relationship with you for a long time. I'm sorry for your loss. Important edit. Saw OP's comments where he says the reason he's not paying for his daughter's college is so he can pay to send the younger, his wife's, daughter to private kindergarten. Wow. So you'd not support your daughter's college education, something that really matters in life, because your younger real daughter has to go to private kindergarten, which you openly acknowledge was your wife's decision. Sir, it sounds like you and your wife have reaped exactly what you sowed. To be very clear, you and your wife were absolute a-holes. No wonder your daughter said what she did and despised your wretched wife. Also, she will doubtlessly come to despise you as a failure of a father and failure of a man. You say you can't think of anything lower than someone speaking ill of someone who can't defend themselves? I'll help you with that. Something that is lower, and probably the lowest of the low, is selling out your daughter because you didn't have the spine to say no to a young lover. My 5-year-old has been the only thing that's kept me alive. This is the statement that cements my opinion that you're the a-hole. Everyone else can see your wife sucked. She probably emotionally abused your oldest daughter, and you clearly don't care about your oldest because you excluded her in the thing that keeps you alive during this horrible time. Don't speak ill of the dead, it's just a cheap cop-out. Your wife sucked, and so do you. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for calling my mother-in-law a witch for saying it was my sister's fault she died in an accident? So, my 16-year-old little sister died in a freak accident 5 months ago. I can't say a lot about the accident since there's gonna be a trial, but I can say that there was another party at fault for her death. I've been dating my current partner for about a year and a half, and in that time, I haven't met their mother for more than 3 times. There are issues between my partner and their mother, and we usually visit on holidays, and that's all. Recently, we visited my mother-in-law, and the conversation quickly went to my sister and me dealing with my grief. I told my mother-in-law and her husband the truth, that I have never been this angry and sad in my life, that I am not coping well. I do see a mental health professional twice a week. I told them the thing that bothers me the most, which is related to my sister's gravesite. The person who caused my sister's death was apparently randomly buried right next to her. I hate that she has to rest next to him. My mother-in-law then told me that it was my sister's fault she got killed, because of reasons related to her death I cannot talk about in detail because of the upcoming trial. I started to cry, told her I needed to step out for a second, and went and sat on the front stairs for a while. I came back, told everyone that I was fine, and changed the subject. Mother-in-law then proceeded to tell me I was being weak, and I shouldn't have minded her saying that about my sister, since it was a fact that it was my sister's fault as well. We left. I told my partner I felt like my mother-in-law kinda ambushed me and I felt bad. My partner understood me completely and told me this was the reason they didn't have a relationship with their mother. Later, I told my best friends about this, and they disagreed with me and my partner. They told me I was just being too serious, taking things out of context, and since me and mother-in-law don't have a proper relationship, I probably just misunderstood her words. I don't think I did. I don't think anyone should watch their words around me, but I also think a person that doesn't know the whole story, even though I did tell my mother-in-law the circumstances of my sister dying, and she knew there is a trial coming, shouldn't say these kind of things, especially to their child's partner, especially in the stage of getting to know someone. So the question is, am I the a-hole for thinking my mother-in-law is being rude and weird about my sister's death? I honestly don't even know anymore. Not the a-hole. Dump your friends. Yeah, what the hell? With friends like those, who needs enemies? Not the a-hole. You don't even need to ask. Seriously, most people would have lost it on your mother-in-law if they were in your position. I honestly expected you to blow up on her, but yeah, your feelings are totally justified. Holy crap! NTA, NTA, NTA. First of all, I am so sorry for your loss, OP. Second, is your mother-in-law a freaking sociopath? I don't think she even makes a-hole territory because that is a whole new level of heartless. Even if the accident was 100% your sister's fault, you would still feel indescribable pain. We are human. There's no logic or fact when it comes to our emotions. There is no math for grief. We hurt when we lose who we love. Nitpicking over liability and blame is the job of insurance companies and attorneys. Her calling you weak for a very justified human reaction disrespects both your grief and your sister's memory. I'm so sorry she said that to you, and I would suggest not speaking to her until she sincerely apologizes. You need your space now. Best of luck. My thoughts are with you and your family. P.S. To hell with your friends. Am I the a-hole for sleeping with another girl after she told me that she didn't want to become official? I've been casually seeing this girl Amy for a few months now. We've been sleeping together and we might occasionally go out together, but for the most part, it's just late night hookups. Even though our relationship is mostly just sex, I do enjoy her company outside of that, and she's definitely got more to offer. A few days ago, we were laying in bed and I told her that I wanted to take things more seriously between us. She said, "I'm flattered. I really like you. The sex is great. You're a great guy. I want us to keep seeing each other, etc., but I'm not in a position to be your girlfriend or take a relationship seriously." She basically gave the "it's not you, it's me" speech, but in many more words. It stung hearing that because I did want something more with her, but it is what it is. I'll take the L and move on. One of my boss's clients is this rich bastard who throws these big parties at his house 3 to 4 times a year. The previous 2 parties that he threw, my boss invited me, and I took Amy as my +1. But I obviously didn't want to go with her this time. I hit up some people to see if anyone was interested, and this girl Lisa was down. Lisa and Amy turned out to be friends. Not close friends, but they're connected in social media. I don't have social media and I have no idea they knew each other. We ended up going together and hooked up by the end of the night. The next day, Amy starts blowing up my phone and starts going off on me for partying with another girl. At this point, I didn't even know how she knew, but then she said that she saw Lisa's Insta stories or whatever it was. She was absolutely furious, but I told her that she had no right to be. She's not my girlfriend. She doesn't have any say in what I do or who I do it with. Amy asked me if I slept with Lisa, and I said it was none of her business. She was absolutely raging, but I told her that I can do whatever I want with whoever I want because I'm single. Now for the top comments. Of course you're not the a-hole. Amy made it very clear that you two were just hooking up. Thus, she has no say in what you do and with whom. I don't know why she got mad. How are you going to reject me and then tell me what to do? Crazy. Because she wants to have you to herself, even if she doesn't want to commit more. This is the answer. She probably thought you liked her enough that you wouldn't pursue someone or be able to find someone while she kept her options open. Classic fool around and find out. In detail, she wanted you to be exclusive with her but not the other way around, because she would lose her freedom.
But when you confront her with the fact that by her phrasing you are entitled of your behavior, she suddenly realized that those kind of imbalanced relations works only with people with very low self-esteem or that are in a dark place in their life. Not with normal functioning people. Not the a-hole, and I'm happy you dodged a bullet. Bingo! This has happened to me quite a few times. It seems that women are less attracted to the guys that they can have and more attracted to those that are less attainable or slipping away, or whatever you call this. Not the a-hole. She either has you as a backup plan or wanted you to play games and ask harder. Either way, she is to blame, not you. The games people play and then get mad when they lose. I think this is less about Amy being jealous of OP and more like feeling she got one-upped by Lisa. She doesn't care that much about OP. I think it's more about her ego that she lost a man to a rival. And if she indeed cared about OP and was trying to play games with him, well, FAFO for her. With a dose of you get what you deserve. It's a good thing that now you can see Amy's true colors. Not the a-hole at all and bullet dodged. Yep, going out with Lisa was a blow to her ego. She got off on the thought of stringing OP along being her personal F-toy. It's not the fact that OP took someone else out for a good time. It's who OP took out. OP, woman here, you gotta drop Amy. Don't see her anymore. Block her everywhere. If she plays these games now, if you continue to see her even on a casual basis, she might play worse games with you. You don't need this drama. Cut her loose and move on. Next story. Am I the a-hole for giving my ex-fiancé a fake engagement ring? It was an honest-to-God marriage proposal. I very much wanted to marry her. She's just a klutz, and I didn't trust her with the real thing. I took her to Coachella for the second weekend and to propose. It was a great time, and she got to see No Doubt who she loves because her dad used to listen with her when she was a baby. Anyway, I asked her to marry me and she said yes. She loved the ring. I had it resized, but it was the brass and moissanite copy I had made, so she would not lose or damage the real one at the concert. Which she promptly did. And then she pretended not to. She said it was too tight and that she had it put away until we got back to Phoenix. When we got back, she asked me where I got the ring. I told her and she tried to replace it until they told her how much it cost. She came to my place crying to tell me she lost the ring and to beg my forgiveness. I told her right away that it was no big deal because I had a real one with me and we could go get it sized perfectly so she wouldn't lose it. My mistake, because she effing lost it. She went off on me for making her not enjoy the weekend because she was worried sick that she had lost her ring. If she had told me she lost it, I would have told her the truth. That I didn't want to take any chances with her ring at that massive venue. She screamed at me that I was a complete a-hole to make her worry like that. She said a lot of stuff that I guess had been building for a while and she said things she could not take back. I told her to get out. She asked for her real ring and I said nope. I am not marrying someone who thinks this is the way to behave towards me. I told her she had to leave or I would get the security guys to get her out. She's only signed in as a guest, so it is not a big deal for me to get her out. I feel like I dodged a bullet, but also kind of bad that I didn't tell her at the concert that it was fake so she wouldn't worry. My parents were wondering why we broke up and I don't really know what to say. Lol, I like how after she did all that, she asked you for the real ring, not the a-hole. I hope OP laughed at her. I was just mad. So how much did the cheap ring cost? Cause to me, it sounds like good value for your money. $100. Was her plan to buy another exact copy of the engagement ring and never tell you? As in potentially spend thousands of dollars rather than admit to poor judgment / irresponsibility to her spouse? She went to a local jeweler with a picture and the information I gave her about the stone. It would have been difficult to get a copy since I got it in Canada. The level of planned deception to avoid admitting fault is really concerning. My dude, that's like a nuclear missile dodged. She lost the ring, lied about it, tried to double down on the lie by trying to replace it, then blamed you for her lies before running her stupid mouth, then asked for the real ring. She's 10 gallons of crazy in a 1-gallon bucket. The only ring she needs is a Nuva ring. But in all honesty, she'd probably lose that too. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my wife to do surrogacy? My 34 male wife Olivia, 32 female, was asked by her sister Sophia, 29 female, if she could be her surrogate. Sophia has struggled with infertility for years, and she and her husband have been wanting a kid for a long time. Olivia and I have 4 sons, 10, 5, 5, and 3, and don't plan on having more children. Olivia wants to do this for her sister and already agreed to it before discussing it with me. After Olivia gave birth to our youngest, she suffered from postpartum depression. I'm worried that this might happen again, and not to mention the toll it will take on her body. I talked with her and told her my concerns, but she got defensive and began yelling at me, telling me that I'm a horrible person for not wanting to help Sophia and her husband after they've struggled for so long. I told her that I wanted them to be able to have a kid, but there were other options that didn't involve her. She shouted some more and stormed out of the house and didn't come back until the morning. I messaged Sophia's husband Dean, as he and I get along really well. I told him how I felt about the situation, and he completely understood and told me he'd talked to Sophia. He messaged me later that night and told me that he had tried to change Sophia's mind, but she wouldn't listen. When Olivia came home from work that night, she stormed up to me and slapped me. She told me that Sophia said Dean didn't want to follow through with the surrogacy because of me, and Sophia was really upset about it. Olivia called me selfish and told me to get over it because she's doing it regardless of how I feel. I've given up talking to her about it because I don't want her to get angrier. She's been sleeping in the guest bedroom, and I'm pretty sure she's only staying at the house because of the boys. We barely talk, and she doesn't even look at me. I got a message from Dean saying they've got an appointment later this week to begin the process. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't want to see her go through what she did again. I guess there's nothing I can do though. She's already made up her mind. Now for the top comments. Dude, I think your marriage has bigger problems than your sister-in-law's pregnancy desire. Yeah, I gotta ask Opie, does she hit you often? I've been on the end of this. I thought everything was fine and it was a few small cases with her. But then it dawned on me that 99% of the time, things were fine because things went her way and I acquiesced every time. Most of the time, we did truly agree, but the other times, I just went along with it. So it wasn't until I looked at what happened when I stood up for myself and beliefs and realized those were all the times I was gaslit and hit. Not a-hole. This whole situation is no bueno. If she doesn't have a problem slapping you, then she won't have a problem doing worse. You need to seriously evaluate why you are staying. You could file for a restraining order and she would have to move out. The slap alone would push me to a divorce lawyer, not to mention all the shouting. This is what she'd like when she's not suffering from PPD? A friend of mine did this for someone. The hormones they put her through so she could carry the embryo were brutal. Her moods were off the chart. I'm sure she expects you to cater to her every passing whim. This doesn't sound like something that should happen without both married partners agreeing. Another thing the OP may not have considered, pregnancy doesn't always bring life. It can also bring death. Who will be responsible for that should the wife not make it through? Secondly, what if the baby doesn't make it? Is the sister going to come slap them both too? Would they sue them for failure to produce baby? What about all the additional medical charges for a risky pregnancy and birth? Just a normal birth is a rip-off. So who is financially responsible for all the things that can and probably will go wrong? Unless the OP extricates himself from this mess, he could be left in financial ruin. And his wife, if she makes it, will have ruined her health even more. And if she doesn't, leave her kids without a mom, just so her barren sister could have her own rugrat. I just get the feeling there's a lot of jealousy going on with the sister over OP's wife having 4 while she has none. And I would almost bet money that sister has something over her and has coerced her. Not the a-hole. She unilaterally chose a decision that will affect your whole family. Your concerns are valid. I don't like the fact that she physically assaulted you. She's now ignoring you, creating a hostile home environment for you and your children. A marriage is supposed to be a partnership. That is not happening. Is this normal behavior for her? Physically assaulting you? Giving you the cold shoulder? Unfortunately, I think this will be the straw that broke the camel's back. I doubt your marriage survives this pregnancy. You may not want to do it, but get a consultation from a divorce attorney. Your wife is taking you for granted. I'd also quit communicating with the in-laws. They will support her and drive a wedge between the two of you. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend that my ex-wife was tighter? I, male 39, hate it when people make fun of others. I mean, I know that people can gossip and talk amongst friends about other people, and I'm guilty of that too. But I got very upset when my girlfriend, female 32, started talking about my ex-wife, female 42. I understand that disliking an ex isn't abnormal or anything, but my girlfriend is obsessed with my ex-wife and always try to make bad remarks about her. When it is just me, I don't care, because again, people gossip and talk smack about others in the privacy of their own homes. But this time, it was at a restaurant with some of her girlfriends and spouses. Somehow, the discussion became about my ex-wife's private part. Yes, don't ask me how, but they were discussing childbirth and body changes, age, etc. My girlfriend was a bit drunk and she was talking loudly. I hated it and asked her to stop talking. When I get upset, she doubles down because she starts thinking, why do you care? Why don't you want me to talk crap about your ex? She has told me this before. Now, she was talking about how my ex-wife must have a huge one. We have 2 children together, female 4 and male 2. The girls started laughing and saying, ew. I yelled to stop, but they ignored me. Then my girlfriend told me, why are you so agitated? Did we hit a nerve? I said actually no, my ex-wife was the tightest woman I have had. I don't know how she managed it, but she's very tight. They became silent and my girlfriend started crying. Then the women started yelling a-hole at me, and their spouses were between amused and scared. Then one of the spouses said, yeah, I don't think childbirth really affects this. I haven't noticed difference with women I have dated. I felt gratitude, but I was still being yelled at. And my girlfriend has not called or answered me since Saturday. I'm so tired. This whole situation sucks. If you're co-parenting with your ex, your girlfriend should know that part of dating you means having a cordial or at least neutral relationship with her, at least in front of you. She's way across the line. This is not somebody you can have around your kids. She's ghosting you? Cool. Saves you the trouble. Honestly, there's no circumstance in which body shaming another woman, let alone the mother of your children, is an acceptable action. She sounds like an absolute witch, and I wish nothing but the worst for her. 100%. You don't have to like her, but you can't actively bash on her, especially in public, for no good reason. What a childish, insecure woman to start ragging on the intimate part of OP's ex for literally no other reason than to be petty. Then the girlfriend's making ew noises? What is this? A Jimmy Fallon's kit? They all need to grow up. Honestly, when I read the title, I was like, no way could you not be the a-hole. But then I read a post. Not the a-hole by a super long shot. I dropped that girl like a bag of bricks. She's disrespectful, immature, jealous, and mean. You don't need someone like that in your life. Not the a-hole. What happens when she says something like this in front of you or to your children? She's not the person to have around. This is exactly my thought. The girlfriend hates the ex that much. I can't believe she'd be good with her kids. Happy to have read OP's comment that he is done with a girlfriend. But should that ever change, I wouldn't have her around kids at all. Not the a-hole. This is such a lack of respect for your ex-wife, but also for your feelings, that I hope that you have already broken with your girlfriend. Being drunk is not an excuse to discuss other people's private parts in public. What else is she okay to discuss aloud when you are not around? She won't change, because she is jealous and insecure of your ex. While writing this post, I literally thought, what am I doing? Yeah, I realized I am done. I am tired. I'm packing her stuff in a box and leaving it in the hallway. Great move. Really, the only move. She's a crap talker and you know she's crap talking you right now. You tried many times to let her know your feelings. Did she care? No. She went out of her way to disrespect the mother of your children in public. At a restaurant, where innocent people have to hear it. You put her in her place. Good for you. There is someone out there for you. However, make sure before they become your girlfriend that they can handle you having an ex and kids with maturity and respect. Not the a-hole.